In October, I got invited to do this health initiative with my school district, and it was called Walktober. And essentially, the gist of it is we were supposed to try to walk as many steps as possible. So I got looped into a group that wanted to do 10,000 steps minimum every single day. So I joined the group, and during the month of October, I walked 10,000 steps every day. And the challenge went great. It was super fun. It was perfect because during the fall, it forced me to go outside and spend more time hiking and being outside in nature and taking little walks in the afternoon and everything. And it was great. But as I was doing this challenge, it got me curious, and I started looking into how many steps a day did our ancestors actually walk? So, what does the research actually say about hunter-gatherer step counts? One study that I found in the Current Biology journal, published by Lieberman and Raichlen, both of which are prominent anthropologists in this field, says, "We therefore infer that, during human evolution, there was a strong selection for increased physical activity levels, primarily walking, that culminated in the hunter-gatherer system approximately 2 million years ago, with average daily travel distances of 12 kilometers per day and step counts of about 10,000 to 18,000 steps per day. Although farming, which started around 12,000 years ago, transformed human diets, farmers labor as hard, if not harder, than hunter-gatherers, and step counts did not decline substantially until the Industrial Revolution." So what this article is saying is that for the majority of human history, humans probably got between 10 and 18,000 steps per day, and even during the farming agricultural revolution, this did not decline very much. It wasn't until the last 200 years that our step counts declined immensely. And so this creates a biological mismatch between what our genes are expecting and what our genes are receiving. So that research study proposed 10,000 to 18,000 steps per day on average for hunter-gatherers. However, biomechanics expert Katie Bowman, who specializes in hunter-gatherer biomechanics and general human movement mechanics, she says, "Anthropologists estimate that the daily tasks of gathering wood, food, and water, as well as migrating longer distances when necessary, meant that historical hunter-gatherer people were walking about 1,000 miles a year. If we break this down into per-day mileage, we would have to walk 2.75 miles to match their distance. However, when I look at my own step counts, 2.75 miles yields about 7,500 steps, which is far less than the hypotheses made by Lieberman and Raichlen. So most hypotheses that are evaluating the behaviors of our ancestors use two main pieces of data to make their hypotheses and claims. One is modern anthropological or ethnographic research from modern hunter-gatherer tribes, and two is forensic and anthropological data found from skeletons, bones, and the artifacts around skeletons and bones, such as tools and weapons. So if we were to look at modern hunter-gatherer tribes as a model, there is a little bit more research on this. The Hadza, for example, are a hunter-gatherer tribe that has been used immensely as a model for Paleolithic behavior. And this is because it's a hunter-gatherer tribe that has remained largely uninfluenced by the modern world. They do have some modern amenities, but for the most part, they continue to persevere with their hunter-gatherer lifestyle, where they go out and they hunt every single day. So, one research study in the journal Nature Human Behavior claimed adult Hadza women walk an average of 7.6 kilometers per day and log 10,880 steps per day on average, while Hadza men walk 12.9 kilometers and log an average of 18,476 steps per day. Now, if we used this data as a model to conclude how many steps per day our hunter-gatherer ancestors walked, we would probably hypothesize that it was over 10,000 and generally between 10,000 and 20,000 steps per day, depending on gender, age, and other factors. Regardless, there's no way to really ever know how many steps per day our hunter-gatherer ancestors walked. However, if there's one thing that this research has made abundantly clear to me, it is this. Our hunter-gatherer ancestors walked far more than the average American, because the average American only walks 4,700 steps per day on average. So if for over 2 million years we've been walking, let's say, between 10,000 and 20,000 steps per day, and now just in the last 150 years, we're only walking an average of 4,700 steps per day for the average American, it is no wonder there is so much chronic disease. There are extensive research studies evaluating the benefits of walking 8,000 steps per day, 10,000 steps per day, or even 12,000 steps per day. Increased movement, as measured by steps per day, has been linked with decreased morbidity and mortality, meaning there's less chance of ending up with a chronic disease or dying from it. And this fits into what we call the paleo mismatch theory. The paleo mismatch theory essentially claims that if we had this biological input for millions of years, such as lots of movement, whole foods, exposure to natural daylight, and then all of the sudden we change all of those biological stimuli, our bodies are going to react to it, and this tends to cause a plethora of issues. For example, living a highly sedentary lifestyle, meaning sitting a lot and barely moving, has been linked with a variety of chronic diseases, including but not limited to type 2 adult onset diabetes and heart disease. And what's more, spending most of our time sitting is horrible for our joints. When we're constantly in a contracted position with our hips and our knees and our ankles, we're not going to be able to get the full ranges of motion, and this is going to cause immense musculoskeletal issues down the line. So even though we live in the modern era and we might not all be able to hit as many steps per day as our hunter-gatherer ancestors, there is a lesson in here, and it's that we need to be moving more. We need to be walking more. And if 4,700 steps per day is the average, we should be ranking that up to at least the bare minimum of our hunter-gatherer ancestors, which seems to be right around 10,000 steps per day. Now, I know the 10,000 steps per day number gets tossed around a lot, and I know it's from a Japanese marketing scheme. However, it is a very memorable number, and there have been research studies that have concluded that 10,000 steps per day is a very beneficial number. So, did our ancestors walk 10,000 steps a day? They probably walked a lot more. But as long as we're doing better than this 4,700 figure, I think we're on the right track. Thank you so much for watching. I love doing research-backed science communication, especially when it comes to ancestral health. And if you did enjoy this video, it would mean a lot to me if you could hit that like and hit the subscribe button. And I'll see you next time.